American Fork with an outstanding start. The drive started at their 35, and they marched down the field, all culminating in the long touchdown for Davis Andrews. And a great start for Dylan Story as well. Royals will have to match him, and they'll have an opportunity to do so right here. Booming kick sails out of the back of the end zone. But Brian, what do you think of Story on that first drive?
Yeah, a little inconsistent there early on. You could see the nerves were prevalent, but once he started to settle in and really plant his feet, trust the mechanics, ball was right on the money. And listen, JT, if all of us had a Davis Andrews in our lives, we'd be a lot better at our jobs too.
Yes, we would be. No Hunter Clegg for this American Fork defense anymore. We know Andrews is there, and there's a lot of other talent too, Brian.
Yeah, we miss Small Bear, but good luck out there serving on a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints mission. We'll be heading up to the University of Utah after that, most likely. I should say, who knows anymore in these days of college football. Committed to the University of Utah. Excited to see this defense without him.
Gardner, hands off on the first play, nowhere to go. Look at American Fork, absolutely stifle Snyder.
And one of the reasons why I'm excited to see this defense is because there are a lot of talented defenders out there. Hunter Clegg was without a doubt the star last year, but Fuilangi is one of my favorite players in the state. He's undersized as a defensive lineman, but he is very disruptive.
Yeah, Fuilangi, Drew Dickey. Eardley plays some defense at times. This defense just loaded with talent. It's 2nd and 12 after the 2-yard loss. Gardner alone in the backfield. Bunch set to his right. Mention Snyder back into the backfield. Gardner gets it away. Looks, they try to set up the screen. Snyder blockers in front of him. Makes them multiple men miss. Snyder, green grass in front of him. Multiple dazzling cuts. Snyder crosses the 50, crosses the 40, finally chased out of ground. Snyder flips the field for the Royals.
Well, it shows what I know, JT. I see Snyder, and I think he's got a good 20-yard gain. Instead, he goes almost the length of the field width-wise. Gets them within scoring territory now as they're inside the 40-yard line. Great job by Gardner to draw the blitz in. Great job to secure the catch, and then the cut back and go. You can see why I'm high on the Royals right there, JT. They are explosive on the outside.
Yeah, speaking of explosive, Snyder, the senior back, how about those cuts? My goodness, I thought he was going to get dropped behind for a gain of nothing. Turns it into a huge gainer. We'll see if they decide to go back to him here. Gardner fakes the pitch to Snyder. With time, has a man wide open deep. It's hauled in, and it's a touchdown for the Royals. What a start. Elinki with the reception.
What a rainbow. It felt like it came all the way from Maui on that one. Great throw by Gardner. You see the securing the catch. This sideline at Roy is erupting, and you can see the belief building within the Royals as they tie that one up. 7-6 pending the PAT.
3 plays to go 75 yards. Just incredible, Brian.
Gotta love it, JT. High school football, the most explosive game on the planet.
Broker on to attempt the kick.
For the extra point.
6'2 junior. Time to tie this one with 7:43 to go in our first quarter. And it's good. 7-all. Still a lot of time in the first quarter. Stay with us. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. What a start for these two offenses early, Brian. Just incredible stuff from the Royals. Start with a 2-yard loss, then back-to-back big plays. The first to Snyder to get him across the 50, and then the touchdown on a beautiful throw. They get it over to Elik, and he's in the end zone to tie this one up.
Yeah, it was a great throw there. Great job of securing the catch. And 2 quick hitters. 2 plays, and Roy is even on this one. As you see a rainbow kick there.
Hangs in the air forever before Edwards gets it. Edwards had a big return last time. Stiff arms a defender, but too many Royals meet him with the ball. Dragged down at the 25.
Yeah, I expect we'll see Edwards in the backfield a lot as well. He's a tough runner. You can see it there. Just why it is that they have him returning kicks. He's got the speed, he's got the vision, and also just a very, very strong athlete.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Eardley on that previous drive. He was second on the team in rushing yards last year, 73 carries, 306 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also involved in the passing game, 6 receptions for 29 yards, already with a catch on that first drive as well to help them keep the chains moving. Story gives it again. Erdley with a seam, breaking free. The big back powers his way through, and he's tackled at the 45.
I think American Fork has found something that works early with that run game, attacking the interior of this Roy defense. And again, mentioned they are a bit undersized. Roy is built to attack you, to cause pressure with a lot of blitzing, a lot of zone, a lot of confusion. And early on, it's the Cavemen that are causing the confusion for Roy.
Great job by Taven Jensen and that American Fork offensive line as they go right back to Erdley. Erdley spins out of a tackle, and Erdley, another first down. Feed that man right now. He's hungry.
Yeah, and they're doing it in a variety of fashions, JT, whether it's power or inside zone. See, Erdley hits the wall, spins to the outside, sees the lane, accelerates quickly, gets a 10-yard gain. And American Fork going with a no huddle. Have to believe that they're trying to wear down this Roy defense a little bit early on.
Just over 7 to play in our first quarter. 1st and 10 from the Royals, 41. It's been all Erdley early. There's been no committee so far for the Cavemen. Story, got a clean pocket, gets rid of it, but miscommunication as Andrus not ready for it.
Yeah, that pass was high. Like you said, just some kind of miscommunication there as Andrus had the size matchup against Corbin Schuffenhauer, and but still very good coverage there by Roy, and a much-needed incompletion for the Royals.
Micah Hunsaker, the OC for American Fork, led this offense to 22.3 points per game, 14th in 6A last season. Story once again airing it out, has his man in, hits him for a first down, but that ball was jarred out. It's actually an incompletion. What a pass breakup.
Yeah, wasn't able to secure the ball as tried to turn up field. You see Ori trying to squeeze it in there in the window, just not able to complete the catch. And a nice breakup there by the Roy defense.
Yeah, how about Cole West flying in there to knock that ball loose? Came in out of nowhere. Looked like it was going to be an easy completion for a moment.
Yeah, you love that Cole West took the angle that he did. Not trying to go after the head, go after the ball, causes the incompletion. Great job.
American Fork on 3rd down. They were very good at it on the previous drive. 6:44 to go. Story dropping back. Clean pocket. Moves over. Throws a jump pass. And it's broken up once again. Andrus is walloped. Huge hit by the Royals. That time jarring the pass loose. And doing it in phenomenal fashion that time.
Well, great job by Jackson Schofield there. Able to jar the ball loose. Andrew's taking a couple big hits early on, but really that's a schematic win in my book because the Roy defense shows blitz early, backs out of it, drops almost 9 into coverage. They had a spy there on Story. Story tries to throw it, not within his mechanics. And you see what happens, not able to get the completion, and it looks like the Cavemen are going to punt this.
Are you surprised by this decision, Brian?
A little bit, simply because this is kind of that territory where you just wonder if maybe taking a shot wouldn't help out. I don't know. Especially with this Roy defense having been on the field a little bit early on. First game of the season, the adrenaline's starting to wear off a little bit. I'm not saying I'd go for it here, but...
Punt is away deep, takes a bounce, and reaches the end zone. What are you looking to see here in a second out of this American Fork defense now? You know, gave up that 3-play drive really quickly, but it's a talented defense. So how do you expect them to respond here?
Well, I expect them to get it together and figure out the coverage issues that they had early on. Now, Roy did go with some trickeration to try and open up that defense a little bit. You have to feel that like they'll sell in. If Roy tries to run the ball, I expect American Fork to be very stout in that one, committed to stopping the run as they always are. Just, like I said, always curious if it's worth the net 20-yard gain on the punt there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with an offense that early on has shown the ability to be explosive.
Snyder in the backfield next to Gardner. Gardner fakes the pass, gives it to Snyder. Snyder dragged down after a gain of 5.
Boy, a lot of credit to Gardner there, really whipping the fake and freezing the defender enough to allow Snyder squeeze past. As it was, I believe it was number 19 there, trying to squeeze the gap for American Fork.
Snyder last season, 65 carries, 431 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and he has been very involved early in this one. 2nd and 5 from the 25 with just under 6 to go in our first quarter. Gardner, the junior quarterback. Gives it to Snyder, but late flag comes in. It was after the snap, Brian, but it was pretty late after the snap, I thought.
Yeah, you have to wonder if it was at that point in time, if maybe it was false start or something, a false snap with the center, right? And you can see Gardner's back there doing the multiple claps to try and indicate that it's the go snap count for Roy. It ends up negating that early gain. Roy will have to start out with 2nd and 10 now.
Yes, 2nd and 10 now from the 20, so we'll back them up a little bit. This is American Fork defense last year under Chris Bussing. That was really successful. 16 points per game allowed. That was good for 5th in 6A overall. Gardner gives it to Snyder again. Snyder follows his blockers. He gets about 4 again.
Yeah, that'll leave him about 3rd and average. 3rd and brown bear, as we love to say. You've forgotten about that, hadn't you, JT?
I know, it's been a while.
Out there living your life, doing things great. And I'm back here dragging you down, but 3rd and 6, there are a lot of different options with Roy. We've seen success in the play action, seen success with the screen game. So you have to wonder if Roy doesn't dip in the bag of tricks here a little bit.
They've given it to Snyder a lot. It's worked really well, but this time they got to get 6 yards with just under 5 to go. Gardner drops back. They send a blitz. It's picked up, but Gardner steps up and is dropped. The sack that time belongs to Tyson Eggett.
Eggett coming from, I believe, the linebacker position. Just a great job there. Man, tough for Gardner when you can't step up in the pocket and try and deliver that. And a great job by the American Fork defense to force the 3-ish and out.
Yeah, strong coverage that time, too. The blitz originally was picked up okay, but just no one open. He tries to move around, and nothing there at the end of the day.
And correction, I believe that actually might have been Josh Andrus on the sack.
They're playing some defense this year.
Yeah. To get the binoculars out.
Forker back to punt. High flyer. Andrews calls for the fair catch, was bumped, but not a hard enough bump to draw a flag. I think that was probably a good decision, Brian.
Yeah, you have to wonder if maybe there wasn't some blocking interference with that as much as it was a catch interference. You could hear the American Fork sideline wanting the flag. Obviously, the officials there on top of it. And you were right, JT. It was Tyson Eggett there on the sack.
Hey, like you said, dragging me down.
That's why you roll with the brown bear.
Here you go. You can maybe look it on this drive. What do you think American Fork's going to do right here?
Score.
Smart. That's a good call. That's a good call.
I think that's going to be the plan there. No, but yeah, look, we saw it early on that it was the run game that was really most effective for him, and so I think they'll try and establish that early on. They really want to get Dylan Story into a rhythm, though, and I understand why. You're going to need to be able to throw the ball.
Story throws it up, wide open, and it's dropped! A crushing drop by Jet Nelson. Would have been a walk-in score, Brian.
It would have been. He had nothing but open field ahead of him, and I guess that must have been that old turf monster, JT, just a little bit too intimidating as it bounces off the fingertips of Jet Nelson.
It was an exceptional double move, and you know just one will be kicking himself. We'll see. He's such a talented player, though. We'll know he'll get another opportunity to haul one in. 2nd and 10 from the 49 of the Royals. Story. Royals show a 3-man front. They bring blitzers, so 5 come through. Pressure breaks in. Story gets rid of it at the last second before he's dragged down, and that'll be intentional grounding.
Not a receiver in the area. I don't know exactly what Story was trying to do there other than trying to escape the rush and negate the sack, but not able to do it. Great job by Roy dialing up the pressure there, able to get the penalty and the loss down.
Rodriguez came in on the blitz, and the Cavemen unable to pick it up. Credit the closing speed of Rodriguez to be able to get a hold of Story and drag him down as well. So Roy defense led by defensive coordinator Jake Gallegos in 2022. They held opponents to 24 points per game. That's 13th overall in 6A. A couple of key returners for them, like Cole West and Jacob Veers. Those two players do go both ways for them. Also have Max Johnson, the inside linebacker. As we await the penalty yardage to be moved back overall. So far, we saw Andrews earlier, but Andrus and Nelson, without a catch in the early goings here, how do you think they get them more involved, Brian? I mean, it is still only the first quarter. We just had a lot of action here early.
Yeah, I mean, and really, JT, they don't need to do anything different. The options are there, right? It's just about execution. And so I think you just have to stick with the scheme, maybe invoke the run game a little bit more here, try and get some rhythm going. But right now, they're up against it. This is third and very, very long.
Yeah, I was going to say, the board still says 3rd and 10. I ain't good at math, but I know that's not 3rd and 10.
Yeah, it's third in the Great Salt Lake here.
Yeah. Story steps up, throws it to Andrus. Andrus get him involved, but he's going to be tackled short of the sticks. And for the second consecutive drive, the Cavemen forced to punt it away.
And you can see Andrus is nifty, but not able to avoid the entire Roy defense there. And the Cavemen will punt. Gives Roy the ball back. 2 very strong defensive stands there. And JT, we're still knotted at 7-7. I love it. I love offense. I love ties. I love good defense.
I love close games.
I love football. I love Lamp. I love Austin. Austin, our cameraman extraordinaire, doing a great job.
Doing a great job here early. Punt not going to reach the return man. Takes a bounce in the opposite direction. So diving on top of that one is Zane Edwards to down it there.
That is down. That's a 19-yard line.
So here come the Royals back. We saw the explosive offense on display early. Last drive, not as much success, but they did have the penalty. That's one thing we've seen, right? Penalties have been drive killers so far, and it's not surprising to see them show up this early in the season, first game action.
Yeah, they weren't able to convert, but we did see some success, right? About 4 yards per rush in the run game. That's solid. One problem was that when they got to 3rd and average, not able to convert, and we'll have to see how Gardner does when he's contained within the pocket. We've seen him do great when he's gotten outside or had play action. Anytime he's had space to operate, it's been excellent for the Royals. Now, that defense starts to tighten up and settle in. How's he going to progress? And that's part of his growth, right?
Actually have a new quarterback on, and I think we had a false start that time. And the new quarterback on is going to be Joseph Correga III, the senior. 6 foot 155, comes in right now. Gardner watching on the sideline.
Encroachment.
That was encroachment, actually.
5-yard penalty.
So they did draw the defense off, so it'll be 1st and 5.
Shout out to the Roy offensive line for holding their water there. We are going to see a lot more of those encroachment penalties as there has been a rule change this year, JT. Anytime you cross that neutral zone, it's an automatic head ball penalty.
Correga keeps it, holds out, thought about pitching it instead, keeps it, ends up being a great decision as he gets a first down, but we'll see what the penalty marker on the field is for.
Yeah, it's there on the outside, not exactly sure on the area of it. It looks like it might have been a holding penalty. You can see why they're making the change at quarterback, right? I don't think this is something that Gardner did or did not do. Like I said, they had 3 different candidates that they want to try out at quarterback. So you want to give all 3 of them an opportunity to show what they can do. See the option game, giving Roy a good chunk of yardage. Not able to convert the first down because of the penalty, but understand that this may be how we figure things out in the first half.
Correga's speed on display right away. See the wheels that he's got on that display of athleticism. Had the option to pitch it the entire time as well. Was curious if he was going to do it, but definitely made the right decision there. It's unfortunate, though. It's got to get backed up due to the penalty. 1st and 15. Correga still in the backfield. Snyder behind him. There's a holding penalty that backed him up. Correga the third. Nearly, and they did. They got the Cavemen to jump again. Fuilongi.
Like I said, JT, that new rule change modifies what constitutes as an offside.
Offsides on the defense.
Yeah, you're right.
Penalty. Still first down.
Dynamite drop in there, Monty. You had official there letting us know. But we are going to see a lot that early on as teams and players adjust to the new rule. And, you know, I think that's one area where you have to remind folks who are watching at home that maybe don't watch high school football as much. The rules here are different from what you watch on Saturdays and Sundays in the college and the NFL.
Correga the third throws it over to the sideline, gets a completion, but he's shoved out of bounds quickly as Robert Young, after bringing it in. Young, one of the most athletic and versatile players in the state, is involved in the offense for the first time today.
Yeah, and you can see why he is such a great athlete, able to scoop that one off of the turf. Yes. Turns what potentially could have been an incompletion into 3rd and short, maybe. We're almost 3rd and brown bear here.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, we're staying on schedule, especially with the penalty and the holding penalty pushing him back. Able to get some of that with the offsides, but we'll have to see how Cavemen does here with 3rd down.
Snyder once again to his right in the backfield. They motion him out. Snyder open for a moment. They set up the screen. Rodriguez with the grab, and Rodriguez met with a physical tackle. Bringing him down was Andrews.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Not going to happen with this American Fork defense. Sniffed out the screen quickly. Able to, looks like, hold them short a yard, it looks like. And I think Roy may try to go for it here.
Yeah, it's 4th down. I wonder if they're just waiting on the spot. We'll see. Gutsy call early for the Royals. Could be trying to get him to draw off sides, though. I don't see a play clock at Roy High for us, unfortunately, so don't know how much time, but we'll see what the Royals decide to do, if they do decide to snap it or not. See plays getting sent in from the sideline. Carrega the 3rd. Royals offensive line didn't look ready at the moment. We'll see if they snap it here. They do. Carrega bumps into Snyder, but Carrega follows his blockers, and I don't know if he got the first. That was really close. He was walloped quickly that time by Peterson.
Yeah, Cavemen with the forward momentum will get the 1st down there, but you were right, JT. He was walloped there on the tackle as he was trying to weave his way through offensive and defensive players on both sides of the ball. And Caleb Peterson with a big hit. Love those legal to the body tackles.
Collided with Snyder as well after he got the snap, so really a near disaster play. And how about the moxie going for it there?
Yeah, well, when you trust your offense, and Roy has done a great job at the line of scrimmage. Credit to the Royals and this coaching staff.
Carrega the 3rd doing a great job early. They hand it off to someone else for the first time today, and Sella gets maybe a gain of 3, but we got another flag on the field.
Again, in the area of holding, and you have to think that head coach Chris Solomona is not going to be excited about that one. Sella, the junior, you can see that they want to get him more involved. He's a very shifty player. Fortunately, this one's going to push Roy back.
On the offense.
57 seconds left to go, which has just been a fantastic first quarter. Lots of exciting action. Both offenses off to blistering hot start and have really cooled off since, as we've seen both defensive efforts step up.
Yeah, we have, JT, and some of that is a little bit of the first game of the season's jumping in there, seeing some mistakes on the offensive side of the football. That's really where you need to be clicking the most, right? Defense, you can live with a little bit of chaos, the mistakes here and there. Offensively, you've seen when Roy has been in sync, they've done really well. Now it's time to cut down those mistakes. See if they can't go ahead some against American Fork.
Carrega the 3rd. This could be the first time we see him really air it out. Nope, he's going to tuck it and run. Carrega makes a man miss and is tackled forward for a gain of about 6.
And you see Cavemen, the athlete, leaps into the air. Luckily that he didn't get hit again on that one, as we're going to see the clock will wind down here in the first quarter. Roy with a good pickup on 1st down, but putting them in a very big hole as it's 2nd and 14. 10 seconds left. We'll see if they get this play off.
Carrega lining everyone up, alone in the backfield again. We've yet to see him really throw it downfield, and we're going to wait at least a couple minutes, because that's going to be the end of the first quarter, and what a fantastic start to the night it was. We got 3 more of them coming up for you on deck on KSL Sports Rewind, but after 1, we're tied at 7. American Fork and the Royals going at it. 1 quarter in the books here on KSL Sports Rewind. The Cavemen and Royals tied early. Carrega taking it on 2nd and 14 still because of that penalty. He's alone in the backfield. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. We've yet to see him really air one out, Brian. And that's not going to change here. But this time, American Fork was almost ready for it. Carrega makes multiple guys miss. Carrega, what an effort, gets down the sideline. He's got a 1st down, giving chase. Carrega just has to beat Andrews and is tripped up. Wow! Oh, and we see a late flag come in, but almost a loss of yardage turns into a huge gain for the electric Carrega.
Not sure exactly what the flag is for. It looks like it might be a sideline warning, maybe a tripping. Couldn't quite make that one out from up here, JT, but nevertheless, Cavemen with a big gain. A huge conversion there for Roy. You're seeing his athleticism on display.
Of the Cavemen.
Yeah, Cavemen, man, he is just he's been something else here early. I mean, Gardner was doing a really good job operating the offense too, and they haven't even needed to throw the ball. American Fork was ready for the rush there and still couldn't stop it, Brian.
Yeah, and that's the slipperiness, right? For those who used to watch Chucky Keaton at Utah State, shades of Chucky Keaton in the way Cavemen runs, right? Where he doesn't blow you away with the athleticism, but good luck tackling that greased young man. Make sure he doesn't have Crisco in his pockets.
Definition of shifty in the open field. We see the late flag come in there. We'll back up the Royals. Late whistle there. I think blocking the back maybe, Brian?
Yeah, and that's one of those plays just unnecessary there at that point in time where you're going to have coaching points going into week 2. That'll be at the highlight of Coach Solomona's what not to do list.
Laundry's piled up quickly in this game.
Listen, officiating, getting into it, their first game of the season, they're excited to be here. They want to make their presence known. They know we all love them.
Cavemen gives it this time to Sella, and a sharp tackle made. Coming flying in to make that stop is Segura.
Yeah, and you see Wakifui-Langi disrupting the play from the get-go, allowing Segura to come downhill and make that play. And gone to the well just one too many times there. American Fork was ready for it. And this is where you're going to see one of these quarterbacks really emerge is Cavemen having the opportunity to run the offense here. Can he do it through the air, as he's already done it with his legs?
You know, it's interesting that they're dealing with, like you said, we could potentially see as many as 3 quarterbacks, already seen 2 so far. It's the same thing that American Fork was dealing at this time last year.
It is, and Cavemen, a late transfer from Maui, Hawaii. You can see why they're excited to get him here. Just a great athlete.
Cavemen gives it to Snyder. American Fork once again all over it. Barely gets back to the line.
And again, you know, RPO action there, not a lot in the read. Just trying to fool some defenders and see what happens. A lot of times early in that style of an offense, you're trying to see what a defense does and see how they react. We'll see if they incorporate the read into this one later, JT. You know, again, it's great to have an athletic quarterback, but you've got to have a smart quarterback too, and quarterback who can make those reads and make the throws. And we've seen Dylan Story struggle with that a little bit early on and then start to settle in. Will Cavemen do the same?
Cavemen yet to really air it out. This will be the first time here. Pressure in his face, and he's dragged out at the last second. We see flags come in, Brian.
Yeah, I can't tell you what the flag is going to be for. Looks like
Drew Dickey, one of the defensive linemen, in on the stop there. Exceptional effort by him. And Fuli-Longi.
Holding against Roy, and then just very curious spot for the flag there on the sideline. Not really sure.
Yeah, they're declining it anyways, Brian. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, you got 4th and long here, and Roy's kind of in no man's territory.
Looks like the Royals punting unit will come on the field. So a promising start to that drive with a number of electric plays made by Cavemen, but in the end, it ends with a punt.
Yeah, and listen, that's part of the offensive game, right? You've got to evolve. We're seeing Cavemen trying to do so much with his legs. You've got to really rip the cord on that one, let the parachute fly, see if you can complete some of those passes. Because American Fork's keying in on what he can do on the ground. They've learned, right? And they're adapting.
Low snap bounces, bobbled, going to be able to get away. I'm not sure he will be, and he goes down. Wow! What an effort by the Cavemen. Huge loss as they're able to flip the field position that time. Blake Jensen, one of the American Fork members, in on this huge stop.
Yeah, that's Colby Froker. They're the other backup quarterback, and you see him trying to do something with the football there. Is he?
Yeah, the low snap.
Able to handle the low snap, right? But just not able to complete the punting motion, and unfortunately didn't have anything in front of him. Wisely secures the ball, goes down to mitigate a complete disaster. But in the meantime, Roy puts themselves in a tough position as American Fork is on the downhill side of the 50-yard line going to score. And listen, JT, I don't know if you see this. Wide side of the field, we got burners.
See if they look. They'll see if they see the same thing as you. Instead, they'll give it. Eardley up ahead. Another solid gain.
Well, Hill Air Force may not love that play, but most of our audience watching at home probably loves a good run play and a great job of getting 6 yards on first down, getting ahead of schedule. And we talk about being on schedule, right? First down, you want to get 4 to 5. Second down, 3 to 4. Make it easy on third down to convert.
To your point, Hill Air Force waiting for Jet Nelson to really get involved here. Story throws it over. And a strong tackle, or somehow spins out of it for a moment there was Mason Hollum. As he gains a few yards on it, it'll be 3rd and short, Brian.
Yeah, and I don't think that Mason Hollum is actually 5'1" as he's listed on the roster, but he is extremely tricky, able to get loose. Not that time, as the Roy defense was able to wrangle him up and tackle him.
3rd and 2 from the 34, 9:08 to go. Story gives to Erdley. Erdley to the right side. He's got enough, and he keeps the legs turning. Erdley, green grass in front of him, crosses the 5, dives. He's in. Touchdown, Cavemen.
Wow! You talk about an angry run from Erdley there. Great job to fight through the initial contact, get the first down, and keep grinding all the way into the end zone. And that was a Caveman thundering for a score. The American Fork finally gets on the board.
Hey, hashtag Rewind Top 5 right there.
That's 2. That's
That
2.
is 2.
You hear me, Vince? That's 2.
What an effort from Erdley. I mean, multiple defenders dragging him with him, staying up and somehow shaking the tackles, keeping the legs churning and diving for the end zone. What an effort. I talked about it earlier. I thought this was going to be a back-by-committee approach, but after a quarter and a little bit more time watching Erdley, as American Fork, they're going for 2, Brian. Story to Erdley. Feed the beast. He dives in again. Well, actually, they gave it to Erdley delayed. I thought it was the blocker at first. My mistake. Either way, Erdley got in the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, a little trickeration there on the 2-point conversion. American Fork, sensing that this one's going to be a tight battle, decides to go for 2, and they convert.
They fooled me on the fake. They got Roy as well. Oh, you know what, Brian?
That he was short.
They called him short. We saw one of the refs signal a touchdown. Either way, Erdley got one. So a lot of confusion. In fact, the scoreboard is the same thing. The scoreboard has it 15-7 as well. So everyone else, it's first game, y'all.
Listen, everyone in the stadium apparently was fooled except for the officials.
And there we go. So it'll be 14-7. Erdley still got in all the same. It's a 1-touchdown lead for American Fork. So it took a little longer than we expected, but Erdley still got his way into the end zone. PAT was good, 14-7. What an effort by Erdley on that drive, and he's been everything for American Fork early, Brian.
He really has, and you see that American Fork sticking with the ground game and causing some real havoc there. And Erdley, you talked about it, JT. We thought this was going to be a running back by committee situation. He has grabbed a hold of that job, and he is not letting go. Great momentum, great balance, great control of his body, and that leads to great plays on the field. He gets himself a touchdown.
Kick back deep, and it'll sail into the end zone for the touchback. You know, it's kind of like modern football a little bit, Brian. We came in here talking about Story, Andrus, Nelson, totally overlooking Erdley and everything he was for this team last year as one of their top 3 backs and second overall for them in rushing yards in total. And he's just been exceptional. And as has the American Fork offensive line. Got to give them credit, too.
Yeah, you always want to give the big dogs up front a lot of credit. This is a well-coached unit. They know what they want to do. They love to block in the run game. Probably seen a couple pancakes out there, none that we could call out yet officially. I'm waiting for that first induction into the pancake platoon.
So you imagine it's coming shortly. Correga once again out there. So the senior, Joseph Correga III, in his second consecutive drive in. We saw Tempe do something like this last year where they alternated their quarterbacks 2 drive each. We'll see if the Royals do the same. Correga, another opportunity for him to air it out. Gets it over, but big time hit. Ball was thrown a little bit behind and wasting no time blowing that one up was Segura.
Yeah, you can see Segura coming with a load there. He empties the basket on the Roy offensive player, but Segura is another guy that we expected to see at the running back position. Haven't seen him much, probably because he's doing so much damage on defense so far.
American Fork's defense really rounding into form right now, Brian. You know, they gave up some yards on the previous couple of drives. 4th punt still, but right now looking dialed in. It'll be 2nd and 10. Correga has been really effective with his legs, still looking for his first completion of more than 5 yards here early. He'll keep it this time, and he slips. And all over to drag him down was Tyson Eggett.
Great job by Tyson Eggett to set the edge there, contain the run, allows his mates to come and join in on the fun. American Fork has Roy deep in their own territory on 3rd and long. They're looking hungry. Feed those cavemen.
Feels like they've really adjusted well to what Carrega does. What have you noticed out of them particularly?
A lot of it is just plain disciplined, assignment sound football, which is what American Fork is known for. Sometimes when you make that change at quarterback, it throws you off a little bit. These guys have gotten used to Gardner and being a little bit more the game manager. And early on, Roy found success with some, I don't want to say gimmicky plays, but some misdirection.
Carrega going to be dropped once again. Getting home that time for his first sack of the night. Bearing down and in with the tackle was Drew Dickey.
Great job by Dickey. We've called his name a couple times tonight. You're seeing just staying consistent with his pass rush, keeping after it, not giving up on the play. Allows him to get a sack there. And Roy will punt again. And after what happened last time around, you have to wonder what might happen this time.
Yeah, great call there. That was the whole thing that got Eardley going, or gave Eardley the short field that allowed him to rush in that long score that was then called back and then turned around. Booming punt. Moose Bingham fired up about it. And you got to be careful if you're American Fork not to touch it. It rolls back a little bit. But wow, what a punt that time from Forker.
Yeah, Forker with the big kick, big leg, but the lob wedge like bounce as he's able to hit it, stick it, little bounce back. Still, way to flip the field there by Roy. Much more efficient, better execution on that punt than the last time around.
I mean, if you're the Royals defensively, you got to be feeling good. You've done such a good job, and the majority of the stops. You gave up one long pass play, and really that one run to Eardley, in which you should have had him down anyways.
Well, and that's the part about it, right? We talked about it. You're going to make mistakes. It's how do you respond and how do you capitalize on those things. Roy not able to capitalize on some of the mistakes early on. American Fork is able to.
Story lofting it up. Beautiful pass. My goodness. Drops it in the bread basket. And hauling it in for the first down and then some is Maximos Edwards.
Penalty marker on the play.
We see the flag. They went as soon as the ref blew his whistle. So waiting to see exactly what it is. Everyone's walking back, so a little bit of a discussion going on now.
And that flag is there on the sideline, so I'm not exactly sure if it was an illegal touch because he stepped out of bounds or if he had a sideline warning. Regardless, this one is coming back.
Pass interference on the
Wow.
offense.
So it was a great throw by Story, but I guess they must have gotten Edwards, must have said he pushed off to create separation or something, Brian.
Well, that's one thing that's great about this UHSAA officiating crew. They always keep me on my toes as to what it might be.
If you're American Fork, though, Brian, you have got to love to see that out of Story. I mean, what a toss.
Exactly, and we talked about it early on. You're just dealing with nerves, right? And still in Story's first time starting in his senior year. You know, he has started a game or two before.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
It's a big penalty there with the pass interference. Just not something you typically see while the ball is in the air on the offensive player. But, you know, like you said, JT, able to complete the pass, able to complete the big play. So you have to think American Fork has a chance to at least get some of that yardage back.
First from the 25, make it second from the 25. It's a high throw from Story that time as he's unable to hook up with his intended target in Andrews.
And again, a little bit of a miscommunication there is Story and Andrews trying to get on the same page. And we've really seen Dylan Story have a lot more success on those longer arcing throws. And there's not a ton of opportunity for those. I think American Fork timing their shots really well. You have to look on second and long here, maybe for a screen pass, some kind of draw. Anything to try and get up a big chunk of yardage to get you at least third and long-ish, not third and forever.
Story with time. Waiting. Throws it over. Andrus wide open. Andrus charging ahead, breaks off a couple tackles, keeps the powerful legs churning, and puts him in third and manageable. But I saw a flag come in way back there, and I think it's going to be on. Oh, you're thinking defensive line, Brian?
Yeah, you're going to get an illegal hands to the face here against Roy, I believe. And as you saw a Caveman offensive lineman lose his helmet. That flag is way back on the, I believe that's the 8-yard line. But Jake Veers with a great tackle there on Andrus. We talked about it. Andrus is a big target, but he is shifty and nifty out there in the middle of the field. Veers, great job to bring him down. Unfortunately, the mistakes, JT, they hurt me.
we got more confusion. It's been, like you said, first week for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the officiating crews are able to use those wireless mics so that they can communicate wirelessly, and so they don't have to mosey together every single time. And look, we like to have fun with the officiating crew. I know that officiating is a sore spot for everyone, but I do want to clarify: these people who come out and do this every game do it because they love football.
It's hard.
It is a difficult job. And a credit to these people who want to contribute and give back to their community and do the difficult things. We need more people to invest in officiating. So if you like to argue on Twitter, if you're one of those people that likes to set the rule of law, if you always wanted to be a police officer but just didn't make it, this is your thing.
Exactly. And, hey, I mean, to your point as well, like, it's hard to call these from that close down there. There's a reason you and I are calling the game from up here and not on the field. Well, I think, you'd still be a good offensive lineman, or D lineman if you wanted to be.
Listen, my eyesight is not what it used to be, and so I'm going to go ahead and
like you said, we need microphones so we can get some clarification on this. American Fork is, everyone's turned around right now. What is going on, Brian?
Well, we do have an official that's walking off a penalty here, so I believe that's the illegal hands to the face. That brings it up to 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, I believe, which, again, American Fork's going to accept that despite the fact that the gain in yardage was actually
Andrew's catch was more.
But you maintain down it, right?
That's a good point. Good point.
So with the
see, making me look good.
As much as I bring you down, I try to lift you up, JT. I only bring you down when it's time to eat.
Yeah. Hey, you know the good spots, so I enjoy that. 6:51 to go here, 14-7. For American Fork, speaking of Story, he should have a second touchdown pass. Just that really unfortunate drop we had earlier on the beautiful double move. Just one of those, first game kind of things. You're so amped up, excited to get your first touchdown of the season. Your family's out here watching you. It's just one of those ones he wishes he could have back. But American Fork in a good opportunity here to make up for it for some of their early miscues, because it's 2nd and 10 and what was originally 1st and 25.
Well, I got to be honest with you, JT. 2nd and 10, we're talking about long balls here. 2nd and 10 is Jacob Eardley territory, and he has been dynamite in 1st and 2nd downs of picking up big chunks of yardage here as, we're still figuring things out. Did Jazz Bear put on a referee costume? I can't see. Maybe he's back to his shenanigans. Did we lose the ball again? Who knows? Listen, I'm never going to complain about getting to call a game up here at Roy. It is a great community. They support their team. I saw people here hours before the game tailgating in the parking lot. And, the early start this year, JT, it is August 11th. Very, very early for football when you think college doesn't start for almost anher 20 days.
Some high schools, I don't even know if they're gone full-on pads every single day.
That's right.
On the defense.
Okay, so personal foul, face mask on the defense. That was it?
Here, a couple of boo birds there in the stands, all in good fun. It's hard to argue when the helmet comes off.
Yeah. I was just, like I said, just took so long to sort it all out. You mentioned the long ball potentially. Nelson, we mentioned he had that double move earlier, had the unfortunate drop, got a great matchup. We'll see if Story looks to exploit it with 6:49 to go. 14-7, American Fork with the lead. They go back on the ground to Eardley. Actually, it's the first time someone named Eardley doesn't get a carry. It's Dax Watts, and Watts was a huge part of this Cavemen rushing offense last year. He actually led them in yards, 90 carries for 355 yards, Brian.
Yeah, Dax Watts, a guy that I really loved watching last year. You can see why. 6'1", 205, very explosive, great change of pace back. If you're a University of Utah fan, shades of Mekhi Bernard there, right, where he brings out the athleticism. And listen, I'm not saying that any of these guys are on that level. Just making comparisons.
Mm-hmm. I thought we just had another neutral zone infraction there, but I guess the Roy defender was able to get back on the right side of it. Story, Watts to his right, 3rd and 1. Story drops back, likes the matchup with Nelson, lost it up to him. Nelson hauls it in, steps out of bounds, but I think we're going to have another offensive pass interference, Brian.
Yeah, you see the hand fighting going on there. This crew's already established that they're willing to make that call, and Nelson even struggled a little bit to secure the ball once he got it. Does secure it while he's in bounds, but this one is definitely going to call back. A very gutsy call there by Coach Beam on 3rd and short, going for the long ball. Again, the big size discrepancy out there between Jet Nelson and Corbin Schuffenhauer. But Schuffenhauer doing a great job staying in the fight. He's only 5'8", 140, but he's fighting.
2 offensive pass interferences on the same drive. Brian? you and I watch a lot of football. I can't remember the last time I saw that.
That's what's great about it. Not going to say it, but yeah. There's always surprises in high school football. We'll leave it at that.
Yes, there are. So it's going to be 3rd and 16 now. Hey, Brian, they got to go back to the long ball.
Chicks take the long ball.
Yeah.
But, again, we'll see what Dylan Story can do here. He started to settle in. We're seeing his mechanics be a lot more solid. He's setting his feet. He's throwing from platform. He's got a great cadre of weapons. We'll see what they dial up here as Roy threatening blitz.
Yeah, Royals with 6 guys down. They only had to bring in 3 of them. Story has a man open deep, bringing it. Did he make the catch? Oh, they'll say he was out of bounds. That would have been an unreal grab down the sideline by Cade Wilkinson. We have another flag, Brian.
Penalty marker on the play.
This one in the position of, looks like an illegal man downfield. That one's going to be declined, obviously, by Roy, as they'll get the ball back with good field position.
Yeah, still 5:51, too, so everything on the table for them. Who do you expect to see coming down at quarterback on this one, you think, for the Royals?
But if we're going by what the game has already unfolded, I expect to see Carriaga come back out for the second quarter. It looks like that was the pattern. They wanted to go give each of the quarterbacks a quarter, settle in. We'll see what Carriaga is able to do. Again, a few explosive plays, but the lone score under Gardner, and you have to wonder if maybe we see Gardner come out, see Drew Gardner, the senior or junior, come out in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to what Timpview did last year, right? Kasuga for 2 drives and then Villa for 2 drives as well. That was kind of how they operated. It wasn't until late in the season that they stopped that. Bobbled snap for a moment, but able to get the kick away successfully, bearing down on making a grab, and then being absolutely engulfed was Snyder. Zane and Edwards with another booming hit.
Absolute dynamite play by Zane Edwards there. Form tackle, secures the ball carrier to the ground. He's not getting anything on that one.
It was like watching Jaws swim up to the boat. You could just see, you knew it was going to happen, but there was no warning him. By his vantage point, you just saw green grass, couldn't see the angle he was coming in at, and gets dropped. So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 33. And Brian, with still 5:43 to go, you can do everything if you're the Royals.
And that'll happen when it takes about 15, 20 minutes to make a penalty call, JT. The game slows down a little bit, and you kind of lose those rhythms. You're not seeing guys perform at the level. High school is so much about rhythm, right? You see a lot of up-tempo, a lot of no-huddle for that reason. This is Roy Trotz out trying to figure something out. And yet there he is, right there, number 16, trying to get something going before the half.
Gardner in the gun with Snyder next to him. That worked a lot in their very first drive. Nearly had another neutral zone infraction. Looks like he just stayed on the right side of things. Play clock continues to tick. But once again, we don't have a play clock.
Yeah, would you call that shenanigans from Drew Gardner or trickeration? Poll the audience at home. That's at Dusty Lister.
Now we got a flag coming in. Did they get a delay a game?
Going to have a timeout here is what we're going to get.
So yeah, really messy from Roy. Hey, we haven't taken a break in a while, so I want to give a word to one of our sponsors really quick. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. Just over 5 to play in the first half. Don't go anywhere.
Mother Teresa at Deseret Court.
Their first time out. Gardner and Snyder behind him. Goes to the hard count. To the sideline. The receivers on each side. Gardner fakes it, throws it to the outside. Gets it over to the shifty Robert Young, who's eventually pushed out of bounds. Young, one of the only returning players in the state with over 200 yards on the ground and through the air, Brian.
Yeah, and you can see that Roy trying to get the playmakers on the outside involved a little bit more here with Gardner. He's not the most electric thrower, but he puts the ball where it needs to go, and he lets his athletes go work in space. That's going to unclog that middle that's been so dominated by American Fork early on.
We've seen this American Fork offense be explosive as well, so you want to imagine if you're Roy, you want to continue to move the ball, but also not do it super quickly. You're okay with a long drive. Don't want to give him the ball back. Gardner motions a man across, hands it off to him on the sweep, trying to get around and get the edge, and able to do so before being dragged out of bounds. That time was Eliki.
A great run by Keeley there. He's able to move the chains despite the disruption from Waki Fuilangi and Davis Allen. That's a lot of men on the inside of that American Fork defense.
LA Necky has been involved a few times early. They continue to get their playmakers the ball in creative ways. Gardner, the junior, operating from 1st and 10 from the 48. Fakes it to Snyder, throws it out, has a wide open man, and it's brought in. But stop me if you've heard this before, Brian. There's a flag on the play.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, JT, this one hurts my heart because that's going to be a large human being in a 50 to 79 number beyond the line of scrimmage.
Like you said, just one of those instances you're working out the kinks early. Trying the timing so critical there, right?
Yeah, listen, offensive linemen, we just got a lot of love in our heart. We want to be a part of the action. We never get the ball thrown to us. I get it, big fella. You want to go run a route? It's a beautiful curl. It's not allowed. Calling your own number for the tackle eligible.
It was another throw-in catch to Ineki from Gardner. 1st and 15 from the 43, 4:46 to go here from Roy High School. Hey, it's Groundhog Day. We got another flag.
We got a flag this time, or is this just a delay game?
Yeah, we got a delay game. You know, they've been kind of flirting with it all game long, a delay game penalty. Finally get bit with one there.
And you see, oh boy.
And we hear some nice discussions going on, just asking how your day is going.
Yeah.
Roy coaches.
You can hear the boo birds out, and listen, you know, this is an intense game. It's a big game for both sides. Both teams want to win. Difficulty here where you don't have a play clock posted. Mm-hmm. You have to look for the official at the back, counting down by lifting his arm in the air. And it feels like there was a miscommunication or misunderstanding there.
Yep.
So we'll get back to the action, though, as Roy, 1st and 20.
1st and 20. Gardner, 3-man rush. He's got some time, airs it out, nearly picked off. What a play that time by Andrew, showing off the athleticism, Brian.
Yeah, well, that touched just about everybody's hands there as it goes through Froker's hands. Again, the third-string quarterback. We thought maybe we'd see a little bit tonight. Instead, it has been Drew Gardner that looks like he's kind of established himself so far. Cariaga, again, some explosive plays there. And you do wonder if maybe they don't go to a Cariaga-type package where they bring him in sparingly. But 2nd and long here. Expect Roy to dip into that bag of tricks.
Wes down at the bottom of your screen. Up top, we have Young and Ineki. More discussions going on.
And listen, we talk about it. First night, I know people are getting sick of me already saying, hey, we talk about it. These guys need to get it straight. You know, this crew's going to be working together a lot throughout the year. They want to make sure that they're on the same page. We would like to get the game finished before midnight, so whatever we got to do to get that point, we're good.
To your point as well, you know, players and refs, everyone involved, right? You can train as much as you want, scrimmage as much as you want. You can't simulate a real game.
There's nothing like live action, and everybody's got nerves at this point in time. Just getting adjusted.
Speaking of live action, let's get back to some right here. Gardner gives it to Snyder. Snyder bounces it to the outside, but gets dragged down. Exceptional tackle in space by Segura, who's been everywhere early.
Segura, again, we talked about his potential at the running back position, but you see why he is the anchor of that linebacking core. He's done a great job. He and Tyson Eggett calling their names a lot on the defensive side of the football, and haven't heard a lot of Davis Andrews' names. He's just been...
They had that near pass breakup, just got the long hand in, but you're right. They haven't targeted him a lot, not surprisingly.
Yeah, well, he is a ball hawk back there at that post safety position, otherwise known as the free safety.
Gardner, 3rd and forever. Steps up, pressure bearing down on him, and he's buried by not one, but 2 American Fort Cavemen as Tyson Eggett and Blake Jensen combine for the sack.
Yeah, great job by Eggett to get the sack. But I'm going to get a little bit of love there to Drew Dickey from the outside. Collapses the pocket, forces Gardner to bounce the outside. Pushes it right into his buddy's arm. And Tyson Eggett is more than happy to give Drew Gardner that kind of hug that nobody ever wants to get.
Froker back for the punt. We already had one low snap that resulted in a costly turnover that led to the eventual touchdown that broke the 7-7 tie early. 14-7, just about 3:15 to go. Froker gets it away cleanly, straight up in the air. It sails. Fair catch, wisely called for and brought in that time by Cade Wilkinson. All right, Brian, 3:09. What are you thinking of your American Fork?
Well, you've got just enough time to where you can mix it up. You're about your 4-minute offensive package, so you'll likely go with the muddle, the no huddle. You can select from your entire playbook at this point in time. Good field position. We saw American Fork sputter a lot of mistakes, so you want to have a clean execution going into the first half. I would get the run game going. Jacob Erdley, feed that man. Let's get another angry run.
Yeah, Erdley back in the game. To your point, we saw Watts the last go around, and I think the only reason we haven't seen a ton of Watts early is just because of how good Erdley's looked so far. 4-man front, they'll give it to Erdley. Great gaping hole. Erdley bursting free, crosses the 50, still staying up. Erdley dragging another defender an extra 10 yards. What a magnificent run, but it could be coming back.
Ball carrier. Penalty marker on the play.
Why not? It's been a while since we had a good fun play.
Yeah, backing it up now. I'm curious to see who this one was on. I saw some discussion going on there with Jet Nelson.
Yeah, you can see the flag there on the near side of the field, about the 40-yard line. Area of holding, maybe a block in the back there. Coach Beam and I on the same page, though, right? The handoff to Erdley.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
It's just about that execution.
First down.
No need to hold there. It's one of those things where you're just trying to fight to get the extra effort in there. Negates a big run. But I tell you what, if nothing else, we've seen again Jacob Erdley, just a tremendous running back.
Just an unreal first half out of him. Got to be closing it on, but feeling like 100 yards, honestly. We'll see if they decide to give it to him here. Nearly at a false start. Instead, they give it to Erdley again. Erdley powers his way ahead, gains about 3.
Tackle made by number 22.
2:45 to go. It'll be second down and call it 7 now. Cavemen wasting no time getting back up to the line. 3 receivers to the right. Nelson, the lone man, to the left. Story looks outside. Long throw, gets there. Beautiful delivery to the first down to Hollum.
Yeah, again, Hollum, you see him. He's that speedier receiver out there, able to break out of his route. Reel that one in, get the conversion. Nice job by Story to stay in the pocket, deliver, throw that strike. And that's the way you move the chains. 2.5 left.
So 1st and 10 from the 46. 2 receivers on each side now. 4-man rush. Story. Pressure picks up. Great job by Erdley picking up the pressure as a man wide open and bringing it in before being shoved out of bounds is Cade Wilkinson.
Boy, we talk about it. There's just a cadre of stars on this American Fork roster. Drew Story settling in. You see him taking command on the field there, getting his guys lined up. Under 3 minutes.
Yeah, still a lot of time. Yeah, still a lot of time left. They still decided to go tempo. Story. Waiting. Lofts one out. It's overthrown and nearly intercepted. Robert Young bouncing off his hands.
And listen, that's by design. After big plays, you want to get up and get after it. You see Story wanted the touchdown so bad, just couldn't resist it. Almost intercepted. Great defense there by Robert Young for Roy. But in that situation, JT, I would have loved a run play there. You got that Roy defense scrambling. I get the need to want to keep Drew Story in rhythm, Dylan Story.
Blitz come through. They set it up to Erdley. And on top and ready to make a stop that time for the Royals was Veers.
And we've seen a couple big hits from Veers. He comes down from that safety position, and he lays the wood. It looks like a Roy player. Oh, there we go. He's up.
So it'll be 3rd down, and we'll call it about 8.
Now the tackle with Max Johnson. 3rd down, 8 yards to go.
Nelson and Andrus on the left side. All alone on the right is Andrews. Story, 4-man rush. Likes the matchup with Andrews, who hauls it in for the first down. Putting him on offense is a pretty good idea, Brian.
Yeah, and you see Dylan Story not able to quite get set up there, but it doesn't matter when you've got an athlete like Davis Andrews who's to secure the ball. About the only thing he couldn't do was secure his feet in the turf and cut up field. He's so fast.
Yeah, he shook himself.
Burned right through the turf.
Story, one of the rare times tonight he's been alone in the backfield. Story likes the matchup over the middle, and it's caught. Touchdown to Andrews.
Touchdown.
He gets the first down, and then in the end zone for the Cavemen.
Great catch, great throw, great score. That's a touchdown for the American Fork Cavemen. That's an athlete, Davis Andrews.
And you mentioned Story, the play before, right? Rushed it really quick, trying to get it to Andrews. That time, read the defense perfectly, delivered the pinpoint throw for the easy score.
That he did, and I didn't want to wreck the highlight, and say, wait a second, are we sure it's a touchdown? That time, it is a touchdown as we get a late arrival there for the PAT attempt, and American Fork about to go up 21-7 here.
21-7 indeed, but 1:36 to go. That's a lot of time for this Royals offense to operate. Don't go anywhere. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. 21-7. There were some penalties that backed them up early, but American Fork able to move it down the field. Big plays by Wilkinson. Of course, Andrews himself had the score. Story, and Erdley has just been sharp all game long. Leads to the current 2-touchdown lead, but an opportunity for a return as this one goes to Young. Young breaking free before being dragged down after being knocked down by his feet and losing his footing a little bit.
On the return.
So Young shook a tackle, not really breaking free there, but like I said, week one, right?
Brings the ball out to the...
So if you're the Royals here, Brian, this is an offense that is like to move it methodically. You still got 2 timeouts, and I'm interested to see who's going to come out here. It looks like it's going to be Drew Gardner again, so roll with him. They had that great first drive. First play was negative, and then the next two both go for huge gains that eventually result in a touchdown. And since it's been relatively quiet for the Royals.
Yeah, Gardner's shown a lot more propensity to get the ball going through the air, a little bit more accuracy, so it makes sense with under 2 minutes to play that he would be the one to lead this drive.
3-minute rush, three-man rush, excuse me, takes the easy completion, getting it over to Rodriguez over the middle of the field.
Pass complete to number 11, Cole Rodriguez.
Royals operating with some tempo.
Second down.
1:10 to play now. Young in the backfield. Gardner waits, looks, flushed out to his left. Gonna tuck it and run. Waited till the last second and eventually rushes right near the first down marker, but say it with me, Brian.
The only thing he couldn't run was the flag.
I like yours better.
That's why we finish each other's sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. It's just under a minute to go now. We'll see what the flag was there. You know, every time it takes a lot of time in that situation. Could be holding on the offensive line. You know, originally I was worried Gardner was going to make the mistake of throwing it after his foot had dragged past the line. He did not do that. We already see the Royals backing up.
Holding.
And it is just going to be a holding call. Hard to hold up that long in protection.
Penalty from the spot of the foul.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if maybe some of it isn't just at the very end, the offensive lineman grabbing as Gardner's already escaped the pocket, and just a tough situation to put those big guys in because they're fighting so much to try and make those plays, and my offensive line heart hurts for them.
Hey, I know you're a defensive lineman at heart too, though. How about this American Fork front today?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody in the state that loves Fuilangi as much as I do, but this American Fork defensive line, they're getting pressure with 3 guys. You know, we miss Hunter Clegg, but they're doing a capable job of filling in for him here.
Gardner. Flushed out again. Gardner has a man open downfield, gets it to him along the sideline. Big grab that time, bringing it in was Eneke.
Well, you talk about it on that play. Blake Jensen with a terrific spin move to apply the pressure, but Roy able to convert as he goes out of bounds, and he's going to be about, let's say, 4 yards short of the line.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned Jensen Fuilangi. I mean, I love Dickey, too. He's been tenacious and all over the place here. 50 seconds to go. Dickey actually will break through on this one. Young open for the first down. But we have a flag.
We have a sandwich?
We do.
Pass complete to number 5.
What's the record? I wish if we had stat guys up here, I'd be asking them about what's the record for first half penalties.
I can tell the Dusty Lister's back in the studio right now. In 1998, there were 36 penalties in the first half with a matchup of Carbon against Milford.
You know, Dusty loves flags as well. It's his favorite thing about high school
Dusty
football.
loves flags. Dusty loves historical references to high school football in this state. He loves them some Jeff Hansen, some Dane Stewart, and we love Dusty.
Do love Dusty. And once again, if you want to listen to Dusty Litzner and the rest of the KSL Sports crew, you can tune into the Red Zone channel. Bunch of other great coverage around the state. But we got a great game brewing here still. And 43 seconds. Look, it's 3rd and 13. But we mentioned we've seen some explosive plays. So give this Drew Gardner-led offense right now a chance. Snyder in the backfield. And in fact, they'll give it to Snyder. Or it's Young on the carry. And Young dragged down. Gain of about 7. And American Fork's going to burn a timeout. The aggression by Coach Bean.
And a little late getting the clock stopped there, but really what they do want to do is get the ball back and try and get one more point on the board. And Coach Beam is a very competitive person. You can see that he wants to try and get as many scores before half. You don't want Roy to come back and get some rhythm in the first half because they will get the ball in the second half, And so I can understand wanting to get as many points as possible if you're American Fork.
American Fork's offense tonight, 21 points in the first half. Last year, they averaged 22 points per game. You mentioned Story was in this offense last year, did start one game, got some opportunities and some other overall chances on the season. Story 11 for 19 last year, 580 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Done a good job taking care of the ball tonight. Really only 1 or 2 errant throws. And outside of that, I mean, he had the early throw to Andrews for a touchdown. I mean, we thought Davis Andrews just in general, what does he have, 3 catches? One of them's for a first down, and the other 2 have been for touchdowns, Brian.
Yeah, he's done great tonight in a limited amount of opportunities, but it's been a very team effort from this American Fork offense. And the biggest number, in my opinion, for Dylan Story, 0, as in 0 turnovers tonight, and that is huge when you're playing in the first game of the season. A very, we'll say, a workmanlike effort, a yeoman's effort, much like Jackson Blake last night, a game you and I were both at and able to witness. Secure the football, be a game manager. Everybody loves a headphone manager. Why not be a game manager?
And we got another flag, so we'll wait and see what happens. Beautiful punt, though. Sails through the air. Fair catch called for by Wilkinson. So we'll see what the flag is going to be. But, yeah, got to give some credit as well. Forker has just been on one here in the first half.
I tell you what, if Colby Froker hits his 9-iron the way that he punts the football, I want him in my scramble.
I think you could play around a golf by the time this first half wraps up, Brian, to that point.
You full 18.
Yeah.
So.
Discussion going on of the flag, what it'll be. And, I think both sides have actually executed decently well overall. But if I had to I could describe this word in 2 games, I feel like it is a week 1 kind of vibe, right? Just
very
with
much
some
so.
of from the penalties to just some of the clock issues we've had, the lengthy delays and the conversations amongst officials as well. Just some of the small miscues we've seen. If there's another series I could use to sum it up, how about 2 offensive pass interferences on the same drive?
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things, as we see the penalty is waved off here as both teams went to the sideline. It was almost like a TV timeout, but that's the thing about tuning in to Rewind here on KSL Sports and KSL Plus. You don't have to worry about those never-ending TV timeouts. It's just you and I talking ball, enjoying the smells of those hamburgers downstairs.
They do smell great.
And if you're up in Roy, it's almost a must that you have to hit the burger bar.
A great destination indeed. 23 seconds to go. 1st and 10 from the 18. Story's got a chance to really air it out. One guy I got to imagine they want to get involved here, Brian, is Jet Nelson. They've been so close to hooking up with him on a big play twice now. We'll see if they look to him here. I believe still 2 timeouts for American Fork as well, and those 23 seconds to work with. And instead they'll just give it to Eardley, but Eardley, a lot of room in front of him. Eardley powering his way forward, and he's got a first down, and still somehow going, oh my goodness, Eardley! It takes an army to bring this man down.
Rumbling and stumbling and bumbling Jacob Eardley. That's an angry run. Give him his scepter, Kyle Brandt. We love it over here, even if there is a penalty on the field. I don't care. It's a great play. More of that, please.
If it wasn't for penalties and his runs being brought back, he'd easily be over 100 yards right now.
Right, listen, Jacob Eardley right now is making a case to be my favorite running back of week 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, JT. We did pretty well last year in picking some of our favorite running backs.
We had some fun running backs.
We did.
Man,
think of that. 2 former offensive linemen liking the run game.
Exactly.
Who would have thought? Look at us.
So, just had a sideline warning on American Fork. Waiting to see and there is going to be the penalty as well. Believe it's going to be holding. We'll wait for clarification on that. How many guys did Erdley drag with him there to get those extra 5 to 10 yards?
It looked like it was the entire Roy defense,
really
if we're
did.
being honest, JT. And just, again, he is a strong, stout, aggressive downfield runner. Reminds me a lot of Micah Beckstead in that regards, where you get him going up the middle, and he is just dragging defenders left and right. Micah, one of our favorite running backs from last season. Jacob Erdley, an early candidate to be my MVP for week 1.
The word him is thrown around too often, but Micah Beckstead last year was him. Erdley has been him in this first half. And they're just going to be content to let the clock run out after that penalty. So that is going to do it for our first half. 21-7. The American Fork Cavemen lead the Roy Royals. Brian, what are your first half thoughts?
A lot to clean up, JT. They're great plays tonight, and I'm not talking as much about the players on the field as it is all the ins and outs, right? We saw a player coming in late, getting the signals in, trying to figure out who your QB is. So these staffs are going to go back in the locker room. They're going to get everything tightened up. But really what I'm most excited about, JT, that was a great half of football.
That was.
We saw the stars come out. We saw a couple new stars tonight. And we're looking at a 2-score game going into halftime. You'll take it every time.
Should be a fun second half. We'll be back with more action from the home of the Royals here at Roy High School in 15 minutes. We'll see you then on KSL Sports Rewind. But your score going into the break, 21-7. The Cavemen lead the Royals. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside to Roy High School, where the second half is set to get underway momentarily. It is 21-7. The visiting American Fork Cavemen lead the Royals currently. JT Wistersill and Brian Brown with you. Brian, Roy is going to be starting out with the ball first. What is the key to them mounting a successful touchdown drive, something they haven't been able to do since their very first possession?
Well, you said it, JT. They need to score a touchdown here. It is a 2-score game, 21-7. But this American Fork offense is built to win with a lead. And so you have to try and close that gap. You want to get on the board early. You want to find a rhythm with your offense. And most importantly, you want to find yourself in that beautiful west end zone.
Yes, you absolutely do. Yeah, both the end zones here absolutely stunning. American Fork about to boot it away. The Cavemen got the scoring started when they got the ball first. It's a beautiful foot pass thrown by Story, who got it over to Davis Andrews on a long ball to the end zone. Then the Royals got it, and they had their longest rushing and passing play on back-to-back plays, tied it up at 7, had a couple punts back and forth, but American Fork was able to get their way back into the end zone shortly after when Erdley punched one in, who's just had an exceptional first half, as this one bounces nearly to the back of the end zone, but is eventually going to be picked up by Aneke. Aneke breaking free, Aneke crossing the 30, and the Turf Monster got him.
Yeah, you see him just losing momentum there as he goes down. And he's having a hard time getting back up. I think he got injured a little bit there. Maybe a cramp, something like that. Part of the reason why the only thing he couldn't escape was that turf monster. But big block there on the return to spring him and open up that hole. That is a great momentum play for Roy. And we'll keep an eye on him to make sure everything's okay.
So far, it's been kind of 2 drives with Gardner, 2 drives with Joseph Carrega, the third. And that is the case here. We saw 2 of Gardner to end the half. Carrega gets the start to begin the second. 1st and 10 from the 34. Carrega, with time, has a man over the middle of the field. Intercepted! It was thrown behind him. Picked off. Breaking free, but eventually being dragged down at the 30-yard line that time was Ray Stringham.
Great job by Cunningham to be in the right place at the right time. And we say it all the time that the reason they play on defense because they don't have great hands. Not the case on that one. American Fork with the conversion, the turnover, converting that, allowing the Cavemen to be in great field position.
Yeah, Stringham with the big interception there. And, they hadn't really let Carriaga air it out. He had a man open. It was a little bit of a tight window and just threw it behind him. The unfortunate break there. And looks like it's going to be starting out with Dax Watts in the backfield. I expect us to get a lot more Erdley action, Brian, with the first half he had.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you want to get Dylan Story going early on in this half. You see the play action there?
Yeah, they'll get it over to Andrews. Andrews makes a man miss, tackled from behind, brought down just past the 30-yard line.
I'm chuckling a little bit to myself because you can see Andrews, he's a tremendous athlete, but he is such a defensive player at heart. He just kind of slides instead of making a move or really shaking him, right? Like he's breaking down for a tackle, and some of those defensive habits die hard, right?
They absolutely do. Erdley back in the backfield. Mentioned the start he had. Andrus with a couple of grabs. Still waiting on Jet Nelson to get involved, and he's the guy who's the threat to score anytime. They give to Erdley. Erdley met quickly by the Royals, who's dragged down. We saw him push a couple piles forward, and that time trying to make sure that doesn't happen was Colby Hepner, who jumps on top of him to make sure he goes down.
He does. Number 44, looking almost Mike Allstott-esque there with the double fours. He's also got some gnarly blonde locks that flow out of that helmet too.
Flying in for the tackle like that, like Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, it's going to be 3rd and 6. 10:33 to go in the third quarter. 3 receivers to the left. Andrews lined up off tackle. The Royals rush 4. Story looks left all the way, forces a pass in, and it's hauled in. What a tough grab for the first down.
Yeah, great job there to wrangle him down.
Yeah, Cade Wilkinson. 15. Wilkinson bringing it in. What an effort, Brian.
Yeah, Wilkinson, great job on the route. Able to collect the pass, keep himself between the defender and the ball, and that leads to a conversion here. And the first down for the Cavemen is they're going with the no huddle.
Story with time gets it over to Andrews, who's just dragged out of bounds. Gain of about 3 or 4, maybe. Feels like Story's getting really settled in here, Brian. I mean, think about the last pass especially. That was a tight window throw, and he was on the money.
Yeah, well, if you're American Fork, you know what you have in the run game, and so you know you can go to that at any point in time. But really what you wanted to do is you wanted to build off the momentum that Dylan Story created there at the end of the second quarter. You look at him, he's comfortable. He's throwing on platform. He's doing a great job of checking through his reads and finding the open receiver. And even more than that, it's standing tall and confident in the pocket.
Story gives it to Erdley, follows his blockers, breaks the tackle, has a lane, and he flies through it for the score. Erdley in the end zone once again.
Find him his scepter. He is the king of the field. Bring him all the finest meats and cheese in the land. Jacob Erdley, what a run. I'm running out of adjectives here, JT. He has been phenomenal tonight. Everything for the Cavemen in terms of getting them in position. Great to see him finally get that score on the board.
Do you got an adjective to describe the performance of the American Fork offensive line?
Stout.
Stout. I like it. They've been exceptional. Great job pulling right there. Right in the hole. And Erdley, you know, when he's been one-on-one tonight, he's breaking the tackles every time. He's been automatic in that regard. Speaking of automatic, another PAT is through. 28-7, 10:06 to go. It's been all Cavemen in this one, but the Royals, with a lot of time left, don't go anywhere. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. 28-7, American Fork continues to show out here at Roy High School. What's impressed you so far about this American Fork offense, Brian?
Well, a lot of it is up front with the offensive line. They're doing a great job of opening those holes. But my list starts and ends with Jacob Erdley, and he has been phenomenal tonight. He's found every hole, his momentum, his ability to stay balanced when he's running the ball, and just powerfully running it in.
Kick is up. The explosive Robert Young with it. Young crosses the 20, but is dropped quickly after.
Robert Young on the return.
You mentioned Erdley, but I want to go back to a little bit of a discussion I had earlier this week with one of the members of the coaching staff with American Fork and Coach Gaisford, and he just talked to me about Dylan Story overall, just talking about how he's the guy who's run this type of offense since 5th grade. But, you know, last year, transfers over from Pleasant Grove. It's his first year, not really familiar with the personnel, so still getting comfortable, acclimated overall, and he is a guy who's a pure pocket passer who will run the play, go through his progressions, and get the ball out quickly. He's RPO savvy. We've seen that tonight overall. Has that experience, and just the QB room overall and the relationship they have with offensive coordinator Micah Hunsker has made the difference as well.
It really has, and you know, you love to see that kind of performance and that growth in game.
Check down is open, charging ahead, and diving, able to get the first down was Cove Rodriguez.
And Rodriguez, a thick player, able to get out in the flat there. Caught some damage as he runs on the kind of a little slip screen action there, a little swing screen. Not sure exactly what to call that. That's the best part about football is it seems to evolve every single year, and there's something new that pops up that I don't know about. So we see Cariaga come back in here. Not a great start to his first drive, but see if he can get this Roy offense back on the board.
Yeah, moves the chains. We mentioned no points scored since that very first drive. Carriaga. They set up the screen. They go right back to Rodriguez, and Rodriguez runs into his own teammates.
Well, I tell you what, that was our guy Davis Andrews coming downhill in a hurry. Offensive lineman not able to get a paw on him. Not surprisingly, it's not a fair fight.
It's not. And to your point, now it'll be 2nd and 10. Looks like a no gainer on the play overall. But, this American Fork defense got gashed, right? 2 back-to-back big explosive plays in the first week. You get down on yourself a little bit, but they've really come together, Brian. And it's just been remarkable to watch the performance.
It really has. And, I think really what we're seeing right now is just 2 programs that are on the cusp of being great programs here, and you're seeing performances from a lot of the stars tonight. You're also seeing some growth and some emergence of some new stars as well.
Carioca's got to get rid of it, and he does in time, but it's hauled in by Sella, but not before he's dropped for a loss of maybe 7, Brian.
Yeah, and you see Carriaga trying to hold on to the ball there and draw the defense to him, but American Fork was never fooled from the start of that. Sella gets taken down, and Roy is in deep territory here. Not looking good for conversion.
Another credit to this American Fork defense as well, Brian, is Carriaga. When he first got in there, he posed some problems for them. We saw him move the chains with his legs. He had a couple of huge gashing runs, but ever since then, they've been able to contain him.
Well, yeah, and they really haven't run the ball a lot with him in the second half here. Down 3 scores, you have to throw the ball. But the other part of it, too, is what he can do in the run game. It's what he's got to do in the pass game that really has to take over here. Is American Fork is really, well, we'll see a draw play here, but
yeah, he's going to try to run it. Breaks a few tackles. 3rd and 17 will become 4th and semi-manageable. That ball poked out very late, but Arroyo quick to jump on it after. Still going to be about 4th and 8 deep in your own territory, and we're going to see the punt unit run on the field, Brian.
Yeah, and we've seen Colby Froker do a good job in the punt game tonight outside of the one low snap where he was able to handle it. They just weren't able to get the punt off. Look, at that point in time, there's not a lot you can draw up for 3rd and 20. And so Roy does a good job of getting some yardage, allowing them to flip the field. But now you're putting that defense in another hole tonight. They've already been on the field a lot. They're down 3 scores. They've got a lot of work ahead of them. If you're Roy, you really need to start executing offensively.
One thing, speaking of execution, the Forker just continues to boom the ball. And this one is going to be a phenomenal punt as it takes a great roar bounce. Will they be able to get there in time? No, they will not.
Goodness.
Oh, I think they thought it was going to stop a little sooner, so they slowed down a little bit, and would have been a great chance to down him on the 1. Said this drive will start at the 20. But, man, I tell you what, if Moose Bingham was in here right now, Brian, he would be going nuts over the performance we've seen from Forker.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. But on that occasion, just a case of the old cliche, out-kicking the coverage. It doesn't take a Moose Bingham to see that was a phenomenal kick. And Froker has been an absolute weapon for Roy in that game. Just unfortunately, his coverage team not able to keep up with him there. And look, they still were able to flip the field. American Fork has to start on the 20-yard line. That's an impressive. I think it was almost, a 50-yard kick?
I think it was, yeah.
Even with the touchback.
You're right, even with the touchback, man. Yeah.
I don't often giggle
point.
because of a punt, but man.
Yeah. That was special. And we'll see. He's done it time and time again. And we'll see what Story's able to do here. 4-man front.
We'll see what the story is with Dylan.
Right there, it's a loss of yardage as they get it out quickly over to Jacob Dean. Nice job on the tackle over there by Cole West.
On the coverage, driven out of bounds. Lost back to the.
One thing, if you would have told me American Fork would be leading by 20, I would assume that Jelt Nelson has at least had 1 or 2 big plays. It's been close a little bit, but it does speak to the emergence we've seen from Davis Andrews at the receiver position and just how, Eardley especially has dominated. In fact, we'll see if they give him the ball here. Instead, Story steps up in the pocket, going to try to rush it, shakes off a tackle, has one to beat in space, makes another man miss, and going to be pushed out just before the first. But what an effort by Dylan Story.
Love seeing him get out of the side of the pocket and use his legs to make a not quite a conversion, but get a positive net yards there on that play. But I'm going to give some credit to the offensive line for American Fork on that one. Great protection, allowed him plenty of opportunity and plenty of space to work with. They have done a phenomenal job tonight. Mostly kept Dylan Story out of trouble.
A lot of bodies close to the line. They'll give it to Eardley. Eardley able to get another first down.
Easy short yardage conversion there. Looked like they went with the power play some good old-fashioned gap blocking. And American Fork, again, that offense started on the 20. They're already threatening to cross midfield. You talk about Jet Nelson, JT, he's had opportunities tonight, right? Just bobbled one pass, not able to get the full conversion on another.
Go back to Erdley on the ground. Great push by the Cavemen's offensive front. Leads to another huge gain on first down.
Yeah, it really was. And that one was just another one straight into the teeth of the defense. You know, Erdley doesn't really wow you with his speed or his agility, but he really does hit the hole hard. And once he gets that momentum going, he's incredibly difficult to tackle.
Be 2nd and 2 from the 42. 5:50 to go in our third quarter. Erdley remains by Story's side in the backfield. Story tries to get it over the outside, is able to do so, and able to keep his feet and get a first down way over there, as I'm trying to identify the number, way out there. It was number 10. And that is going to be Mason Hollow.
Driven out of bounds.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of receivers for this American Fork team, Brian. They really go through a lot of guys.
We've seen Maximo Edwards, we've seen Allen catch a few balls, and I think that's really the story of Dylan's story, is that he's gotten the ball to his playmakers tonight, and it's been a complete and total team effort on the offensive side of the ball as Roy. Oh, that's one of those ones where you're fighting so hard. This defense has been so competitive, JT.
I know.
And they just get caught looking. They got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and I get it. Because if it was Mama Worcestershires cookies, woo, that's a cookie jar I'd be in often.
Oh. Hey, you know, give credit to Story as well, Brian. You were the called it earlier about how exceptional his hard counts were. You said you've been hearing them from up here.
Yeah, and it's, listen, that's at this level, it's gamesmanship. You know, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but that really helps. As you see there, American Fork gets stuff out the middle. You know, we haven't called Andrus' name a ton in the blocking game. He's done a really great job of setting the edge for American Fork on that one. Got caught a little bit high. But we don't often talk about how important tight ends are in the run game. And we always love to see the highlight catches and everything like that. And he took some big licks early. He's been really, really versatile for American Fork tonight.
You mentioned how hard this Roy front is competing, able to stand up Erdley that time there. 4:30 to go in the third. 2nd and 5 from the 50. Story, 4-man rush. Got a clean pocket, and it's deflected. Beautiful pass breakup that time by Schaffenauer.
You see here, American Fork content to just really work the clock as there's less than a minute left here. Excuse me, that looks less than 5 minutes left.
If it weren't for all the first half flags, there would be that amount of time left in the third quarter.
Yeah, I'm operating on Brown Standard Time and not actual official time tonight. But
Story rolling to his right, airs it out. It's hauled in that time by Nelson. His first catch of the day goes for a first down.
Yeah, and you see that's where Jet Nelson really can be an impact player. The ability to secure the catch, slip the first tackle, make a move, and get that yak, right? So it's already a 10-yard completion. He adds another 8 to 10 on top of that with his ability to shake a defender and get down the field.
Erdley still next to Story. 4:05 to go in the third. 1st and 10 from the 36 now. Right hash, Story looks left, fake the double move, has a man open deep, tracking and bringing it in for the big gainer that time is Wade Stringham.
A name we haven't called yet tonight, but to your point, JT, so many people that can contribute in this game. Story with a great ball, Stringham able to reel it in.
1st and goal, Cavemen.
This is
American
a big
Fork,
one.
Yeah, American Fork inside the 5 now. 3:55 to go. Seen Story unlock the explosive element. We'll see if they decide to keep it inside with Erdley, who's already had himself today. 2 scores already for Erdley, right? Working on the hat trick here.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it.
But instead, they go up to Nelson. Nelson has the size advantage, and just out of his hands. You know, give credit to the coverage. Enrique has been playing both ways and has really held his own against Nelson.
Yeah, he really has. You know, these corners are a bit undersized for Roy, but they're doing a good job of playing physical and aggressive, using the hand-fighting technique, making those catches really difficult to secure. And And Jet Nelson, he's got the size, got the advantage. Just so hard to secure those catches when there's nothing but hands there.
Went through the air on that one. Erdley. They fake it to him, and a wide open Andrus hauls it in. Touchdown, Cavemen.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We talk about Andrus and his blocking ability and how versatile he is. You see Josh Andrus line up in the slot there, I believe, able to catch the ball. He was wide open on that one. And Roy just tough to stay engaged throughout the entirety of a long drive like that. You feel like you have him pinned. American Fork just wears you down. Gets a touchdown.
PAT makes it 35-7. The Cavemen continue to crush it in their season opening game out here in Roy. The Roy Royals set to get the ball now after another American Fork touchdown, 35-7 with 3:37 to go in our third quarter. Sun is pretty much gone now on the first full night of high school football. Young with another opportunity to return it. He gets across the 20. Young finds a crease, breaking free. Robert Young, a nasty stiff arm. Young finally dragged down from behind, just past the 45 of now in American Fork territory. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, what a tackle there by Segura, I think it was, to save a touchdown.
Yeah, definitely a touchdown-saving tackle, but even more impressive, rumble, young man, rumble. As he crosses the 50, puts Roy in threatening field position for the first time. That's a huge momentum play. Roy needs more of that if they're going to get back into this one, down 28.
Yeah, I believe it actually might have been Bourgeois on the tackle there, so I misspoke earlier. But either way, a phenomenal effort to save it. And you just see why Young is so explosive. It's not easy to rush for 200 yards in the state and have over 200 yards receiving. He's one of the guys who's done that, as we highlighted earlier. And you see why with special plays like that. Be interested to see if they try to continue to get him involved in the offense. Drew Gardner back in the shotgun here. Snyder flanking him. They'll give it to Snyder. Gain of maybe a yard.
Well, and you see the teeth of that American Fork defense able to hold Snyder up. There was a nice little hole there on the backside. Just couldn't quite get through the cutback lane, and what could have been a big gain is only a 2-yard gain, and that's kind of been the story of this American Fork defense, right? Bend but don't break.
Second and 10 from the 44 with under 3 to play in the third quarter. Gardner, blitz comes through. He's able to escape it. Exceptional protection. Gardner keeping his eyes peeled downfield. Opts for the pump fake. Gains about a yard and had to work hard to get that even.
Yeah, he was trying real hard to get a receiver to get open there, but just too much traffic. American Fork playing it safe, dropping a lot of guys back into coverage, confident that they can get sideline to sideline with their linebacking core, and they did on that play. Gardner wisely runs out of bounds. Lives to play another play.
35-7 with 2:41 to go. Gardner on 3rd and 9. Young gave this offense life with his return. Gardner trying to capitalize on it here. The QB keeper straight ahead, and he's got, it's close if he got the first or not. I believe, it's right on the line, Brian. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like where they have him spotted, he's just going to be a yard short. But a nice play call there is Roy able to pick up 8 when they needed 9. And again, that's almost 4-down territory for you when you're inside the 40.
On the keeper. 9-yard gain on
and I heard some boos coming from the Roy sideline. I understand it. That was a really close one. And that is a tough spot. If they're moving it over a little bit. That was a 2-yard spot. I was going to say it's a little closer than that. 2:05 to go. It's going to be 4th and short. Roy, any chances of the comeback is going to come down to it right here. Max Johnson comes in next to Gardner. Cavemen with 5 bodies occupying the line of scrimmage.
A lot of guys in the box as well.
Gardner keeps and gets just enough for the first down before he's wrestled down by Fuli Longi.
Yeah, you can see Drew Gardner there. Wisely goes to the turf early before absorbing too much contact. But that's enough to get the first down as he's got the big lead blocker in front of him. And now the Royals are in great position to get a touchdown here, JT. They need it too.
You mentioned they kind of had to abandon the quarterback run game early just because of the score and what it's become. Against a lot of the 5A teams and the ones in their region, it's going to be hard to stop, Brian.
Yeah, this is an offense that's very potent, and I think the biggest problem is we just never saw them find enough rhythm. Oh, no. Ooh.
Dropped interception, tried to set up the quick slant, miscommunication that time, nearly resulted in an interception for Ocean Bishop. What goes through his hands also could be Luke Higbee. We got 2 number 15s on my roster.
Second down.
I believe that's Ocean Bishop there at the corner position, and we haven't called a lot, but listen, this American Fork defense has been nails. And I talk about Roy hasn't been able to get in a rhythm. You have to give the Cavemen credit for that, right? Some of it may be going to the dual quarterback system, but I think a lot of it is American Fork making adjustments in terms of not allowing Roy to break open those big plays. And they've really limited the Royals tonight.
2nd and 10 from the 33. Gardner, 3-man rush. And it's batted at the line. This Cavemen front just continues to bring it. Blake Jensen with the deflection.
Boy, Jensen with the deflection. Fui Longi laying some lumber out there. Timber, young man Timber, bringing some heat.
I know one of your favorite memes as well is that video of the guy who just on the high school football team just calling everyone dogs. I mean, that's what this American Fork team has, right? I mean, what are guys like Drew Dickey, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's across the board, and I think that's the difference between a 6A and a 5A, right? Here on a 6A American Fork squad, you have absolute dogs at every position, not a lot of weakness. And with a team like Roy, you've got some guys who really fight and compete and just don't have the same size.
Exceptional blitz that time by the Cavemen. Roy unable to pick it up, thus forcing the incompletion. It will be 4th and 10. What do you think the key is for Roy's aerial offense to get on track going forward this season, Brian?
Well, I think a lot of it is finding that rhythm, right? You mentioned, JT, that they've done a great job in the QB run game. So how do you find the balance between the run game and the pass game? Right now, American Fork playing a little bit passively defensively. They are applying pressure, but they're not really forcing the issue, content with letting Roy attack different areas of the field. And on that one, it's just about Drew Gardner settling in. We talk a lot about throwing on platform, and what that means is just being sound in your base, being solid with your feet.
Gardner, 4th and 10, closing in. He's got to get rid of it. Somehow keeps his feet alive. Gets tripped up at the very last second. Exceptional diving tackle by Lucas Segura. But unfortunately, we have a flag, and there is an injury on the field.
Yeah, there's a flag, and the injury, I think, going to coincide here is I think we're going to get a blindside block. I have a hard time with that one because it's a player that's in pursuit of the quarterback, and he's coming back into the offensive lineman. The biggest thing that you worry about is you want to make sure that Blake Jensen's okay as he wanders off the field here with help. But, boy, for Roy, that's a heartbreak effort from what you thought was some hope, and just not able to get what they need in terms of a conversion, and salt in the wound with the penalty as well.
American Fork's offense making their way onto the field, and just to your point as well, we hope Jensen is okay because between Jensen, Drew Dickey, and then Waki Fulilongi, I mean, this is a defensive line that's going to be a force to be reckoned with this season, which in order to survive in the new Region 3, you have to have, Brian.
It is, and I think it's going to be a region where you're going to see at least everybody get one loss just because it is so competitive and so deep. And for American Fork, they haven't played perfect tonight, but you can see what they want to do, right? They want to play complete team football. They want everybody to be sound assignment-wise, and hope Blake Jensen's okay on that one because he's such a great player. And this is a full contact sport, JT. There's a reason why these guys wear pads, and you just hate seeing him.
Watts gets about 2 or 3 on the carry, and you do hate to see it happen. And, we're talking about these regions overall. The UHSA did do their latest installment of the realignment, so shook up the regions a little bit. Region 4 was the most formidable region in the state for the past few years. I'd probably give that designation to the new look Region 3 right now, even with the departure of Corner Canyon. When you look at American Fork, Lehigh, Lone Peak, Pleasant Grove, Skyridge, and Westlake, Brian.
Yeah, Westlake should be a program that's on the rise. I think Coach Arnold Ale is doing a good job with that one, keeping guys in the program. They've got some really talented players on the defensive side of the football, and that's really where they're hanging their hat. The culture there is being built. I don't know that Westlake's going to come out of that region as champs. But, you know, that's a really hard thing, and that's a program that's, I think, on the rise. And the biggest thing is Coach Ale has everybody in that community excited as this clock runs down here in the third quarter.
The American Fork Cavemen are excited about their 35-7 lead after 3. We got one more to play. Stay with us on KSL Sports Rewind.
Past the end of the third quarter.
Out. Closing this one out here shortly. Fourth quarter action getting underway. Watts gets the carry again and gets a first down. 3 straight carries for Watts, and he produces.
And looks like Roy is coming out of that one with the ball, JT. They're signaling that they have it, and that is a fumble and a recovery for the Roy Royals. Wow! What a critical turnover there caused by that Roy defense. And the Royals have life here with 11:50 left in the fourth quarter.
Big discussion going on right now. American Fork obviously felt like Watts was either down, maybe the play was blown dead as well. That's what we're trying to determine right now. Who ended up coming up? Hunter Webb ended up coming up with that ball currently. So we await the decision as the conversation's been going on. Hey, credit the referee crew as well. This has been a much quicker second half.
Yeah, they must have taken the advice of Mama and Papa Worcestersill and decided to keep the flags in the pocket a little bit. As we see what the ruling is here. And it does look like it's going to be...
Looks like it'll
American
stay with
Fork
American
ball,
Fork at least
yeah.
right now. And you can just see Coach Salomona is irate, and they got to pull him back right now as he is really frustrated. And we'll get a flag on him. Frustration understandable with the way things have gone tonight. We originally had Coach Solomon was frustrated. The pullback coach even got frustrated.
Apparently there was a fumble recovered by the
It's not the night the Royals were hoping for tonight. Boos ensuing now on the overturned call. And unfortunately, because that was a conversion, it'll also be a first down for American Fork rather than fourth down. And lengthy conversation with all of our officiating crew. I jinxed us. I'll claim that one. I said we've been moving a little quicker. We'll kind of drag to a halt a little bit here, but this one's worth sorting out, I do believe, Brian.
I do. I agree with you, JT, and we're going to let people cool off and let tempers, as tempers will flare in this game. Emotions are part of life. They're part of football.
Especially football. This is an emotional game.
It is a full contact sport, and you have to play with emotion. Emotion is not the negative, right? It's the allowing emotion to get out of control that's the problem here. And, I think there's no clear winner-loser in these situations. It's just a situation where emotions get a little bit out of line. And listen, I understand it, especially from the Roy side of things, where you think you have a fumble recovery. The officials confer on the far sideline for a long time, and then all of a sudden the ball goes back to American Fork, right? And so that's part of it, right? The optics, when you're in these games, feel like they're against you, whether they are or not. And you see the penalties march off here. Yeah, there were 2 flags on that one. And, I think, again, the aggressiveness from Coach Salomona and the official has the right to protect himself, and that's why he has 2 flags. You hate to see that distract from the game.
11:50 to go. Move it over now to the 20. So 1st and 10 from the 20. Dax Watts still in the backfield. Jet Nelson's been close a couple times. You might wonder if he could get another shot here at the bottom of your...
Yeah, I mean, it's first week, right? Like so you're going to have those kind of interruptions and everything like that, and you're playing through everything. And as you hear the Bluebirds out here tonight, it's kind of distracting from the game. And also somebody's apparently lost their keys. It's holy cow.
Jet Nelson just brought in a touchdown right on cue. We thought they might look to him. He's had the matchup all night, and he comes up big late with his first touchdown of the 2023 season. Jet Nelson soaring near Hill Air Force Base.
If you're Jet Nelson, it's time to buzz the tower. That's a touchdown for Jet. His first on the season. Great job there. Dylan Story on target. Jet reels it in. That's a touchdown for the American Fork Cavemen, and it's 42-7. We checked our pockets for our keys. I'll tell you what, Jet Nelson has the keys. He can take my car for a ride anytime, making plays like that.
Jet Nelson was cleared for takeoff. He had the need for speed and capitalized on it. American Fork in front, 41-7 on KSL Sports Rewind. The American Fork offense has showed up tonight, and so has their stars. 2 touchdowns for Davis Andrews. Josh Andris has got in the end zone. Jet Nelson with his first. And, of course, Eardley has been active all night long with 2 scores in particular for him. 11:39 to play here. The punt is away. Young gets it. Last time he got it, had a big return. This time not able to have quite the same success, but still gets it out past the 25. And I think Young's explosive return ability is going to be a huge plus to this team all season long, Brian.
Yeah, it was a great return there by Young as he's able to get the ball out to the 29-yard line. Roy takes over here with an opportunity to try and get a proficient drive, right? At 42-7, this one is most likely out of reach. So what you have to do is you want to narrow the focus of your players, get them focused on competing during this drive and bringing something positive out of this drive, right? The comeback can't start if you don't get the first play off right.
Yeah, an opportunity to build momentum, too, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and as you talk about momentum for the rest of the season with Drew Gardner coming out here, Roy is going into a very tough and competitive Region 5 where I don't think they're the favorites, but I don't know if there really is a consensus favorite for that region.
Gardner with the give. Straight ahead, gain of about 3 for Sella. Brian, one thing I did want to bring up as well was Region 5 this coming season. Bonneville, Bountiful, Box Elder, Clearfield, Northridge. Roy is going to be occupying that as well. Viewmont, Woods Cross. What do you think of the new look Region 5?
Well, I think Bountiful is the team to beat in Region 5. In fact, the Red Hawks might be a sleeper, if you will, to be a playoff team and a state championship contender. A lot of talent on that team. You know, Falatula Satawala is the big name player for Bountiful, committed to the University of Utah over the summer, I believe. But there are a lot of teams in that region that can compete as we see Drew Gardner overthrows his receiver there. Had him open in the flat, just not able to complete the pass.
Yeah, tough throw to make on the move.
Yeah, it is. And you're a right-handed quarterback rolling out to the left. So,
but your point on Roy, you were saying?
Yeah, I think Roy brings a lot to the table. We've seen it tonight. And the biggest thing is that they just weren't able to compete for 4 quarters, and they need to find some rhythm on offense. I think they found that a little bit with Drew Gardner. How you use Cariaga going forward is going to matter. But I think the biggest thing is that Bountiful is that team in terms of, you talk about him, they are them in Region 5 in the sense that they are the king of the mountain and they are the team to beat. Now, are there challengers? Absolutely. You know, I think Viewmont in year 2 under Coach Drew Jones has a great opportunity to compete. Ooh.
So we get a first down there off a big throw and catch that time over to Schaffenhauer.
Well, we haven't seen Schaffenhauer get a catch. He's done a great job on the defensive side of the football.
Yes, he has.
That's a nice job of using your athletes on both sides of the ball there, and that leads to a first down for Roy as, again, talking about it. You want to build momentum. You want to finish a drive.
Yeah. Well, to your point as well, Gardner misses the throw on the move, gets rolling to the right, delivers a throw on the move.
Yeah.
Positives to take away.
You know, as a quarterback, I was always better throwing to my left. But
oh, yeah? Physical tackle that time. Charging ahead was Sella, but being dropped that time on a strong, tough out by Maximus Edwards.
Is it real, JT? Did we have it? We did! We had 2 members inducted into the Pancake Platoon on that one. Congratulations to the Roy offensive line. You've earned a Pancake Platoon membership.
Yes.
Maybe if we find a team that gets enough, they might get the ever beautiful Pancake Platoon hat from JT Wistersill. Is that a potential problem?
That is a potential thing. As they give it to Young this time, he's dragged out from behind. I'll say this: if we ever give out the Pancake Platoon at any point this season, if somehow I'm ever at a place where OPH, whatever breakfast spot you want to name, you come up and find me, and you got a pancake this season, I'll pay for your pancake. I have no problem saying that.
We're up in Davis County, so I'm going to shout out Criddles Cafe.
There you go.
Up there in Ogden. So if you want some pancakes, go get some pancakes tomorrow morning from Criddles. Great breakfast places in our state, but love seeing those pancakes, even in late games where the score's a little lopsided.
3rd and 6, 7:15 to go. Ball on the 49. Roy looking for consecutive first downs. Motion Rodriguez across, fakes it to him. Gardner on the deep drop. Pesher breaking down on him. Motion's out deep, going to tuck it and run it, and ooh, very close. I think they'll just have enough for the first down, Brian.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, JT, is Drew Gardner managed to scatter for a first down conversion, and you did get your wish. Back-to-back first down conversions. And there's something cooking over here at the Royals. I don't know if it's if it's worthy of the burger bar, but we got something cooking.
They're making some moves on offense. Unfortunately, one unfortunate thing we do have to report that our great cameraman Austin did notice for us was Chris Solomon during that interaction was tossed from this game. Brian, what are the implications of that for next week? Are there any? Or?
Well, I don't know in terms of suspension because I'm not up to date on what happens when a coach is suspended. We did see a player get ejected from a game last night for using a word that he wasn't supposed to in the Lone Peak Bingham game. And unfortunately, that is an 8-quarter suspension, not able to appeal. It is a terrible rule. I agree with you, Austin, on that one. I wish we had the Austin cam so that folks could see the 2 thumbs down.
You said good reactions all night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People saw us in the booth. I'm looking at you and I'm looking at Austin for confirmations on the reaction. It's led to a great broadcast. So, Dusty, as much as the 3 of us can work together, please make it happen.
It's been a lot of fun.
Dusty, Vince.
Unfortunately, I don't
Jeff.
know how much we've been on the Red Zone channel in the second half.
Not in the second half, no. A few in the first half.
Gardner rolls to his right, gives it everything he's got, and it's just going to overshoot his intended target as that time stopping just thought he was already open and was Rodriguez. Also want to go back to play for Morris had a great catch on the slant to put them in 3rd and short position. I believe is this 3rd and short, Brian, or will this be 4th and short?
This, I think, is 4th and short, but if you heard groans and moans on the broadcast, I apologize. Cove Rodriguez, stick to your routes, and I know he hasn't seen a lot of balls tonight in the sense of, like, they haven't all gotten to where they needed to be. That's one of those ones where you just got to trust yourself, and I could have had something there. Nevertheless, 3rd and 1 here. I'm sure.
Third and 1, 4:50 to play. Gardner and the Royals offense looking to get a positive drive in the second half. They've marched pretty far so far. They'll give it here to Sella. And Sella with the first down, dragging a couple cavemen with him for some extra yards on the carry.
Yeah, great job there by Logan Sella, going both ways tonight as he's played offense and defense. Anchors the middle of that defense at the middle linebacker position. Tough football player. And Roy gets the first down. And JT, I know our listeners at home are very anxious to get an update. The keys
have been found.
Keys have been found.
Sella bounces off a tackle somehow, keeps it going for about an extra yard. Doing his best Erdley impression, able to shake off a tackle and that go around. He has 2nd and a few, and yeah, you're right. The key saga has been lengthy. It's been the story of the second half so far.
It has, and well, outside of the fact that the American Fork just took control of this game in the second half and used the variety of outstanding players to lengthen that lead. You know, it's been Lost Keys and Ice Cream and Cake, a rousing performance of that between the quarters.
That's a good one.
So that's what I love about getting out to these games, JT. You get an opportunity to see the traditions for everybody, and people have unique songs or opportunities as, oh my goodness.
Exceptional sack and effort. Fired up about bringing home and bringing down, and that time was Dallin Afu.
Afu. A pity Afu when you have to block that man. He was an absolute beast getting in the backfield there.
Relentless.
Celebrated accordingly. Excited to be getting a sack there. Smartly does not throw Gardner to the turf. And I believe Afu has played on the sophomore. I believe he played on the offensive line tonight as well. So
something for the future. Hey, back to your points of we've seen everything. We saw Jazz Bear.
Yeah. Boy, what an experience that was. Him losing balls.
American Fork takes a timeout. We should take one as well with 2:40 to go. I thought it was a timeout. Clock's still running over here. Finally stopped at 2:40. Highly doubt they'll put the time back on, but either way, and actually we're still waiting on the timeout confirmation. No one's even gone to the sideline. Just got to get one more week 1 wrinkle and just finish this off tonight, Brian.
As I said, everybody's going to have tape this week. And have a lot of tape,
yes.
A lot of laundry list items that we need to check off on that. You and I have a few. We just had a rousing rendition of somebody getting sung happy birthday.
Yep.
So, excited
my tape
about.
Will, as I'll probably be pronunciation focused. I apologize. 8 points tonight. What are you going to focus on in your game study?
You know, I need to be better about keeping it short and not covering over your calls, especially when Jet Nelson is making a spectacular play for a touchdown. I think my snack selection was a little rusty. We would have been lost if we didn't have some amazing s'mores cookies tonight. So
shout out to Kelly Wistersill as always.
That was great.
Shout out, Mom. Appreciate you. Austin,
Appreciate
what are you
her.
going to watch film on?
Film.
Film? Yeah, he's just going to watch it back. Just study the camera angles for us.
He's going to try and use 2 ends of the headphones tonight. So next week.
All right, they did roll the clock. 2:35 to go. I still don't think it was a timeout.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
not
know
really
what
sure what it
happened
was.
on that.
3rd and 14. Gardner pumps once, resets. Beautiful throw over the middle of the field. It's caught. And still on his feet, spinning out of it, going to the right across the 10, and in for the touchdown in spectacular fashion is Isaiah Morris. Wow!
Oh my heart, JT Wistersill. It's a slant route. You think you got him, but not once, not twice, but thrice. He spins out of the tackle and he leaps into the end zone for the touchdown. You can hear this Roy crowd still excited, still into it. That's a great way to finish a drive, and we talked about it. The comeback probably was never going to happen, but the drive was finished with a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's momentum. There's only 2:20 left, but darn it, that's a great way to go into this season. And for Roy, a program under second-year head coach, you had a really emotional moment for you to focus back in, control your emotions, capitalize with a score there. Just a great job.
PAT up and through, and we're going to keep it here for a second. 42-14, American Fork will be up, putting the finishing touches on this one in a moment. But, well, first of all, great play by Morris, obviously, spinning out of the tackle, all of that. The overall poise and just production we saw from Drew Gardner on that drive, that's what really stands out to me as in for a building block going forward, Brian.
Yeah, and it's easy to be tantalized by the athleticism of Cariaga, and he's a transfer, so he's still settling into the system and learning a lot about it. He did have the one turnover for Roy that really, I shouldn't say the one turnover, they had the
punt, the unfortunate low snap on the punt that was muffed. You're correct.
But with that going on, I think that turnover at that point was such a critical turning point for the game, and you really just, as you see everything evolve and see what Drew Gardner does there late in the game again, head coach out, he's asked to step up and lead the team, and he does it. I think that's a very pivotal moment for them going forward. We've seen it in the past, right? You can use a Kazan Villa or whatever. You can use those very athletic quarterbacks in a variety of ways, especially at the high school level. But Drew Gardner staked his claim as a leader tonight for the starting quarterback job.
Yeah, whether it was him through the air late, and then you also still have that ability to pose an impressive run threat if you want to with Joseph Cariaga and what he provides with the ample threat of his legs. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in Region 5. 2:20 to go in the fourth quarter, 42-14. Booming punt, absolutely obliterated into the end zone. And let's look ahead to what they have coming up a little bit. Roy tested on the road. I'm glad they're home tonight because they ain't going to be home for a while, Brian. They go at Fremont, at Weaver, at Clearfield, at Box Elder until they finally host Bonneville. So 4 straight road games. How do you think they're going to handle the adversity of having to play 4 on the road?
You're going to get a game against Clearfield in a program that feels like they have enough guys to compete this year, so that's going to be a tough one. You're just going to have to stay focused. I think we've seen tonight that Roy has the guys to be competitive in every game that they're playing. And the hard part about it is, like you said, going on the road that much in a row and just understanding that it's going to require focus, it's going to require execution, and we've seen some miscues tonight. You can't continue those on all 4 of those games. Weber, always a tough environment to play. You and I both mentioned it's one of our favorite views in the state. It's also a very tough program. Coach Jason Anderson does a terrific job up there. They're a younger team, but they have a lot of juice.
They absolutely do. Gaiseford now in at quarterback, and that time handed it off to number 47, Prince Afu.
19, Hunter Webb in on the tackle.
Webb made the stop, and, to our point about American Fork, they've looked impressive tonight, right? Well, and I would even say maybe they look like one of the 5 best teams in 6A. They will be tested not only just when we get to region play, but with their upcoming schedule. They host Orem coming up who is taking on East tonight. Then they have to travel to West, one of the other strong teams in 5A. They'll go to Rigby, and then they host Bingham. And we know American Fork started off the season 4-0 last year, and then they traveled to Bingham, and everything spiraled out of control for them in that game. It was also a game that Story really struggled in, but a really strong opportunity for this American Fork team to prove themselves and also test themselves against some very stiff competition.
You mentioned expectations at the start of the broadcast, and I think they've lived up to those and played up to those expectations tonight. 42 points on the board, did it through the air and on the ground, played very stout, competitive defense, had a turnover. So you look at all that, right? That's momentum going forward. Are you going to be able to sustain your level of play as the competition increases? That's going to be the key for American Fork. It's not about having the guys to compete. You have the guys to compete. It's can you continue to improve throughout the course of the season?
Afu and the Cavemen run it again, just around the first down marker. Not sure if it will be a first down. I think they're going to have to run one more play. It'll be close either way. But to your point as well, just about the growth of this American Fork team overall, I mean, I look at some of the stats and numbers for them last year. You got things like Andrus had 254 yards last year. Nelson had 197. Those guys are going to, I mean, Erdley only had 306 yards last year. Those guys are all going to obliterate those statistics coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. And the great part about the high school season is that the week-to-week variance is so high. You know, I think we learned last year that by about week 4, week 5, you kind of have an idea of what you think, who you think might be good and who might not be good, and then week 6, it's going to throw you on your head. But as far as the American Fork Cavemen, it's a great start to the season and an opportunity to really build off of it. If you're the Roy Royals, a lot to be focused on in terms of making corrections, but also some good opportunities there tonight.
Who were some of the standout players for you tonight, Brian?
I was impressed by Drew Gardner taking over that position of the quarterback position. Robert Young did a great job in the return game. I think he's going to be a very important player for them going forward. On the American Fork side of things, we talked about all night, but I think the biggest one is Jacob Erdley and Erdley. I apologize for the pronunciation if I messed that up. But
you're just following your play-by-play guy. Early on, I think I corrected it. It's Erdley. We got it now. But early on, I do apologize because he deserved to have his name pronounced right. He was balling.
The biggest thing to know about him is that he was the star of the night.
Yep.
And he is my player of the game, JT. I don't know about you, but his performance was absolutely stellar. And from what I saw tonight, he should be one of those top running backs in the state candidates.
Definitely Erdley would be mine as well. Give a shout-out to Story for his ability to settle in as the course of the game wore on overall. Just really impressed with this American Fork team. And you know what? I don't know if they got any pancakes tonight. Maybe they probably had 1 or 2, and I missed it. But this American Fork offensive line, really rushing-wise, and they kept a Story. They gave him time to go through his progressions. Thought they dominated the line of the scrimmage for majority of the night. And, I mean, what was it? I think Story was sacked once early on a blitz. And other than that, it's clean in the pocket.
Flushed him out a couple times there in the second half, right? But for the most part, a pretty clean sheet. And the biggest thing was that they controlled the griddle all night long. So whether they were cooking pancakes, omelets, hash browns, or waffles, it didn't matter. It was that American Fork trench that was in control. They're going to have their hands full with a Region 3 juggernaut in terms of defensive front. You and I both saw Bot Mulatalo last night.
Yes.
He's an incredible player. And
Skyrich is always loaded.
Yep, Skyrich has a ton of Ian Mariner, one of our favorite players. So
Dog.
So they're going to have their hands full. They're going to have to improve. But, this is a great effort from American Fork. And again, for Roy, nothing has changed. In fact, if anything else, I feel validated, in my opinion, as them as one of those sleeper teams. I think they're just going to continue to grow and develop. And it does feel like they maybe found a quarterback in Drew Gardner.
Coach Beam and his team start off his 14th season as head of the program with his 92nd win overall. As we mentioned, American Fork will go and host Orem next week. And then Roy starts that brutal road schedule. They'll head right up the road to Fremont. That's coming up next Friday. But that will do it from us here in the booth for Week 1 action on KSL Sports Rewind. For our cameraman, Austin, for my color commentator, Brian Brown, I'm JT Withersville signing off. Your final score, 42-14. The American Fork Cavemen get the victory over the Roy Royals. Have a great Friday night and a fantastic weekend.